everyone! In today's video we're going to be working with Mod Podge resin. I got this at Walmart for $20 for a 16-ounce kit. It is 1 part of resin to 1 part of hardener. Now under normal circumstances when I make videos like this, I go in totally blind and try out the product and the video. With this stuff I have worked with, and I am glad that I did that, and I'll break down why a little later on in the video. But it admittedly had been sitting here for a while before I decided to give it a go. The hardener was not yellowed like this when I got the kit. I've had it for a while. That's pretty standard with hardener. It will yellow a little bit over time. That's still usable, it's still good, but I do just want to disclose that when I got the kit, the hardener was pretty much the same color as the resin itself. So this is what the box looks like. As I said, it's a 16-ounce kit, $20, not too bad. So let's check out the directions. And when I tried using the resin, I didn't even look at the directions. I just started using it. So it'll be interesting to see the little nuances that are in these directions. We'll just gloss over them. And if you want to read more into it, then you can just pause the video and check it out. So low odor, it was, I guess, what I've really noticed with the cheaper products is you get what you pay for. And a lot of the times that means that there is an odor to them and that they will yellow a lot. It is what it is. Some things have surprised me, but that usually tends to ring pretty true. Working time, 30 to 40 minutes. I do agree with that. I got about 36 minutes out of it when I worked with it last time. Demold time 24 hours. Full cure was 3 to 7 days. I wasn't sure if that was going to be the case, but it was. It was still dentable at 3 days, and at around 4 is when it hardened up more than I honestly thought that it would. All right, prepare your workspace, standard resin stuff. We'll go to mixing instructions. For the resin to cure properly, it is very important to measure an exact 1-to-1 ratio of part 1 and 2, standard resin stuff. And if you're unfamiliar with any of this type of thing, I have some videos that are resin basics for beginners. You can go and check them out and they will get you up to speed. Okay, so this wants you to measure each part into separate measuring cups and then combine both parts into 1 cup. I don't like doing that. I'm not gonna do that. I didn't do that the last time I used it. I just find it to be messier than it needs to be. Like, you can just, if you're brand new to resin, then sure, do that. If you're more seasoned, just put both into the same cup and mix it. I don't understand why you would need to use separate cups. So that's just my stance on it. Take it with a grain of salt. Do what you want to do. Set a timer, use a craft stick, stir slowly and carefully. All right, decrease bubbles in resin, let it rest for a little bit. Yep, standard resin stuff. Pouring and curing, clean up. All right, personal protective equipment. When resin crafting, wear protective gloves such as nitrile and neoprene. We will be wearing gloves. Work in a well-ventilated area. If working in a non-ventilated area, wear an approved respirator with organic vapor cartridges. So this is my respirator right here. It has organic vapor cartridges, like it was saying. When I'm working off camera, I use this. I will not be using it when we're working on camera because I want you to be able to hear what I'm saying. So if you are in the market for a respirator or just want more info, I will leave all that type of stuff in the description area of the video below. All right, wear chemical safety goggles or glasses. So here's some of my glasses. I also have bigger ones that cover more of the face, but these are a smaller version and there is a hair on there. And I will leave the link for these in the description as well. The product is low odor but does emit fumes. All right, so let's go ahead and get all set up and start to demo and work with the product. I have my measuring cup that I've marked off. Since it's a 2-part mix, I'm going to do 12.5 milliliters of the resin and 12.5 of the hardener. The squeeze caps did not come with these bottles. They very rarely do ever come with resin bottles. If you've followed me for a while, you know that I buy these separately and put them on all my new bottles of resin. If you have not followed me for a while or are new, hello, my name is Marina Sharp. I make resin videos and I'm very glad that you're here. I'll leave the link for these along with everything else I use in the description area below. So I have my little mixing stick. I don't mind using wooden sticks, but I will use these plastic ones as well. So that's just what we're going to be using. So let's go ahead and get this all mixed up, measured, all of that jazz. The resin is a little bit thicker than I prefer. I always prefer a thinner formula because there will be fewer bubbles in the finished product. The thicker or higher the viscosity, usually the more bubbles will get captured in the finished product. If you have a vacuum chamber like I use or a pressure pot, it's not as much of an issue, but if you don't work with either of these things, the thickness of the resin does matter, in my opinion. All right, now let's get our hardener poured into the cup. Okay, my product is measured, so now I'm going to go ahead and start to stir it up, and I'm going to do it really slowly. And one thing that I noticed working with the product before was that even though it was thick, it didn't really seem to have as many bubbles in it in the finished product as I assumed that there would be. So we're going to do this again. I'm going to take my time, and I didn't even really take my time stirring that time. I just kind of slopped it together. So this time I'm going to go slow, I'm going to take my time, and then we're going to pour the product into the molds and let it harden up and then see what it looks like tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to get this stirred up off camera, and then when it is all good to go, we'll pour it into the molds and I will see you in a little bit. My resin is now fully mixed, and I'm letting it sit for a couple of minutes. In the mixing instructions, part of it was to decrease bubbles in the resin, let the resin rest in a mixing cup for 2 to 3 minutes. So that's what we're doing. I also have a torch that I'm gonna pop some of those bubbles with. So after we let it rest a little bit, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour a thin layer in here, a thicker layer in here, and a thicker layer into here, and then I'm going to pour some of the resin into this little bezel, and it has a pure white background, and that's going to go out into the sun. If you have followed me for a while, you're familiar with all of this, and what it is a yellowing test. So earlier in the video, I was saying that I'm glad that I tried this resin beforehand, and I would explain why, and this is why. I've already done a yellowing test. Now usually with these videos, I will do an update in the next video that I make about how much it yellowed. This time I can show you. So this was out in the sun for about 2 months, I want to say. It has yellowed a lot. This is the piece that, you see that white background? That's how much it's yellowed. So I'm going to pour the resin into this and then I'll break that down a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to do a thinner layer in one. A thicker layer in the other. And a thicker layer in the last one. Oh, actually, okay, maybe I'll make this my thicker layer. I don't have enough resin. Okay, and then I'm going to take some and I'm going to put it in this little bezel with the white background. And I use the white background because it really, really shows the yellowing. Okay, so there's that. Gonna run a torch over the top, get as many bubbles as I can, and the directions said to come back and do that a few more times, so we will go ahead and do that. Well, I'll do it off camera rather. All right. So in regards to the yellowing test, this was to be expected. This wasn't surprising to me. As I said earlier in the video, you tend to get what you pay for. And with the cheaper products, they're far less likely to have a UV inhibitor. They're gonna yellow more. They're gonna have a stronger smell. Sometimes though, I have gotten more expensive resins and they yellow just as much. So it's a roll of the dice sometimes. You never really know. But I will say it is a given. The cheaper the product, the more it's going to yellow. If you use a more inexpensive product and it doesn't yellow very much, send me a message. I would like to give it a shot. So yeah, it's been a couple of months. And to kind of put that into perspective, okay, so this is my go-to resin. This is my favorite resin. It is called Super Sap CCR. Now, I know it looks yellowed here, but this has been outside for 3 years. Literally 3 years. A friend came over and was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, I should probably go ahead and bring that in. So this is 3 years from Super Sap. This is 2 months from the Mod Podge resin. And when I do my final thoughts and demold the other pieces, I will talk about how I do use cheaper resins that yellow a lot, but I use them for very specific things. So we'll discuss that a little bit more later on. In regards to the work time, the last time I worked with it, I hit about 36 minutes and that's when it really thickened up. I managed to get a little, like some glitter into there and get it into the mold. But yeah, the 30 to 40 minute work time, I will say, was pretty accurate. So we're gonna go ahead and let the pieces that we just poured cure, and then we'll pop them out of the molds and do some final thoughts tomorrow. So I will see you then. It's been a couple of days now and these are ready to come out of the mold, so let's pop them out and I'll give some final thoughts. This is the piece that's the bezel that has the white background that I poured the resin into for the yellowing test, which I talked about earlier that we had already done. I mean, this is the outcome of that. So pretty extreme difference. All right, so let's see the bubble situation. It's actually not bad, especially for not using a vacuum chamber. I've seen way worse. However, would I use this product again? No, I would not, and here's why. So I've used this product 4 times now. The first time I tried mixing up a larger amount and I added mica colorant and it was a disaster. It didn't degas well, like the bubbles didn't rise to the surface and pop well. That's what I mean by degas. And even running it through a vacuum chamber was weird. The bubbles would like froth up and not pop. So then I mixed a smaller amount and didn't add color, and it's the pieces that I did, the UV test with, and it wasn't so bad. Then I mixed up what we did on camera, and it's these ones right here, and it was my 3rd time using it, and it was fine. This morning though, I tried mixing up a larger quantity again, and it was just odd. It was frothing up and little resin bubbles started to float out of the cup and into the air. I've never seen that. What even is that? The bubbles hold together too strongly or something. I don't know, but I don't like it. This is part of what I mixed up this morning that I'm talking about. I just gave up on it. I was like, this is weird. I don't like it. But it started to like superheat and like, look at the bubbles. They never popped. They're like part of the cured product now. I don't like it. I don't know. So for smaller amounts, it seems to be okay. For the larger amounts is when it gets weird. So as I said earlier in the video, I do use cheaper products a lot, but it's really only for when I'm adding colorant or glitter to the resin because it covers up the yellowing. I mean, this is what the yellowing looks like. It's pretty intense, but with colorant and glitters, it covers it up and you really can't see it. So here's an example of some pieces that I've used 2 of my go-to resins for. The clear part is Super Sap CCR because it's very yellow resistant. It is my favorite resin so far. But the black parts, Those are cheaper products, and it's because it doesn't matter how much it yellows, you're never gonna see it. So for products like this, the Mod Podge stuff, I'd only use it with colorant. So if it's gonna act weird with colorant and the bubbles aren't gonna pop and it's gonna froth up, there's no point in me using it. It's useless for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with my go-to cheaper product, which is Amazing Clear Cast. I won't be using the Mod Podge again. I don't like it. So in regards to these two, they're next to each other in Walmart and probably in craft stores, but they cost the same amount. This kit was about $20. This kit is also about $20. So yeah, it's more cost efficient to just stick with the one I'm used to, and it cures faster. This takes 3 days minimum for the full cure, and the Amazing Clear Cast takes like 12 hours. So yeah, not wowed by Mod Podge. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Try it if you want, if you like it. Sorry, this is just my stance on it, but yeah, so I guess that concludes this video. I hope you learned a lot. I know I certainly did. And if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing and all those things that go with YouTube. And I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And thanks for watching. Bye.